I am so glad you have joined me for our very first When Songs One music class today. We're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to learn a lot of musical things, even today. All this year we're going to be learning songs, we're going to learn how to read simple rhythms, we're going to learn how to play this fun instrument called the precorder, and we're going to learn how to do these notes. We're going to learn how to do that in solfa, mi, re, do, and we're going to learn how to read them in the lines and spaces of the music. Every lesson we're going to learn a little bit about a composer and one piece of his music. Today we're going to start with Beethoven, and we're going to listen to a little bit of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. You might even recognize how it starts. It goes do-do-do-do. You probably say, I think I've heard that before. You may very well have heard that. We're going to be using this book. It's called Themes to Remember, and this is volume 1. There's also volume 2. And the lady who wrote this book is Marjorie Persons, and she did something really fun to help you remember the piece of music. She made up her own words. And when you hear the music, maybe you'll think of the words that she made up, and then that will remind you of what the music actually is. So I'm going to read for you what the words are that they're going to be singing. When we hear the theme, that means the main piece of music, or the main idea of the music, from Beethoven's Fifth. The words are, and here's the page right here. This is a picture of Beethoven. And here are the words and the picture that she has for Beethoven's Fifth. And the words are super hard. I don't know if you're going to be able to get them. They are Beethoven's Fifth, 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 and it keeps going a lot of times. And those are the only words. Now, not all of the songs in this book are like that. They are not. But this one is. And maybe when you listen to it, you can count how many times you hear the words Beethoven's Fifth. Are you ready to listen? Here we go.
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Beethoven's Fifth. Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth. Beethoven's Fifth.
Right now, I wanted to tell you a rhyme about Queen Caroline, and it's called Queen, Queen Caroline. Now, whenever you hear a rhyme or a piece of music that you've never heard before, you should always zip your mouth and listen carefully, because that way you'll learn it faster. So, are you ready to do that? Let's zip our mouth. Let's listen carefully as I do the rhyme for you. Queen, Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine, turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen Caroline. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What did she wash her hair in? Well, that might have been a new word for some of you. I'm going to do it again, and I just want you to listen again, so are you ready? Just listen. Queen, Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine, turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen Caroline. Did you catch the word that time? It is turpentine. Can you say that with me? Turpentine. Now, what is turpentine? Turpentine is a greasy and smelly, actually stinky, liquid that they use to wash paint out of brushes when you're using oil-based paint or when you're trying to make it thinner. Most of the time today, we don't use oil-based paint. We use paint that can be washed out with soap and water. But turpentine used to be pretty common, and people used it a lot. And what did she do with it? She washed her hair, but why? You know what? I would like for you to try to say the rhyme with me this time. And you see how I'm patting right here? This is the heartbeat. Can you pat right with me? And let's try to say it together. Here we go. Queen, Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen Caroline. Here's our heartbeats right over Queen, Queen Caroline. Do you remember how the rhyme goes? Would you say the rhyme with me? And can you do this with me as we say it together? We're just going to use our regular voice. Here we go. Queen, Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen Caroline. Now I'm going to show you how to do that for your homework. So on your sheet, you're going to be pointing to the heartbeats or the queens, I don't care which one you do, as you say the rhyme. So it's the same thing as this, except that you're going to be touching the pictures instead. It's a little bit harder, but I still think you'll be able to do it just fine. So for now, I'm going to do this with one hand and I'm going to point with the other. But when you do your homework on your sheet, I just want you to touch right there. Okay? Can you try that with me? Can you put your pointer finger up and pretend that you're touching, not your paper, but my paper with me? Here we go. Queen, Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen Caroline. You see how that came out so perfectly at the end? Now I want you to listen to a story called Somi and the Monster. It is not a scary monster. This is the monster Ta, and also talks about a little monster, Titi. And then after the story, we're going to learn something really special about Ta and Titi. Hope you enjoy this story.
Music Stories for Juniors by Stuart Manners. Number 10, Somi and the Monster. I know a story about a monster, said Mrs. Clapham. Her class sat up and listened. Is it a taniwha? Asked Hone. You'll have to wait and see, she replied. There was a great big monster who had very large feet. Extra large feet. Feet like hunks of meat. It had a great big body, 'cause it used to eat and eat. Large feet, long legs, wide chest, thick neck, all held up by its feet, by its very large feet. But is it a taniwha? Asked Hone again. Maybe. It's just what you want it to be. Perhaps it is a taniwha. We'll call it Ta for short. When the monster Ta was on the move, it walked steadily and firmly. It never ran. It seldom stopped. What about when it saw a wooselberry bird it wanted to eat? It would slide out its 3 flaming tongues and flick the wooselberry bird into its mouth. Monster Ta always walked. What about if its pants caught on fire? Said Tai. It always walked, it never ran. What about if a fast car came towards it when it was crossing the road? Said Kiri. It always walked over the crossing. It never ran. The bell rang before Mrs. Clapham had time to finish her story. "Walk like monsters, don't run," she said, as the children left the classroom. Outside, Somi and his friends pretended to be monsters. Left, right, ta, 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 ta. Maybe the monster was like an enormous ant, walking ever so softly, suggested Renee. All the children pretended to be enormous ants, walking softly. Maybe the monster was like an oversized elephant, walking ever so loudly, suggested La Somi. All the children walked loudly like oversized elephants. After play, the children told Mrs. Clapham what they had been doing. Some of the class made ant monsters, and some of the class made elephant monsters. Under the monsters that walked softly, she wrote, "Ant monster," because in music, P means soft. Under the elephant monsters that walked loudly, she wrote, "Ant monster," because in music, F means loud. "Is there any more to the story?" the children asked. "Oh, yes. I haven't told you about the little monster yet." Monster Ta was often seen with a little monster following behind. The little monster trotted all the time. It never walked. It always jogged. Whenever the little monster trotted beside Ta, it took 2 steps to Ta's 1. Ta called the little monster Tate, but Tate was too small to say its name. It said Titi instead. Ta, 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 tate, tate, titi, titi, tate, tate, titi, titi. On a big walk, it didn't take long before the little monster was panting and very tired. "Didn't Tate ever walk?" asked Lami. "No, not even when it wasn't in a hurry." "What about when it had a sore leg?" Mrs. Clapham said that sometimes Tate had to stop for a rest, but it still trotted when Ta walked. "What about when it was very, very tired?" said Tammy, who was still getting her breath back from trotting round the classroom. As long as Tate could move, it always went. "I want to be a taniwha," said Honi. "I want to be a woozleberry bird," said Renee. "I want to be a ant," whispered Tahi. "I want to be an elephant," called out Somi. "I want to be Tate and go titi," said Lami. "I just want to be myself," said Kiri. So they all were what they wanted to be until lunchtime.
Wasn't that a fun story about Somi and the monster? Now I'm going to teach you a song that we're going to learn to play next lesson. Just listen and zip your mouth. Are you ready to do that? If at first you don't succeed, try, try, try again. So this song talks about succeed. Let me sing it one more time, and then I'm going to ask you if you think you understand what the word succeed means in this song. If at first you don't succeed, try, try, try again. So what does it mean to succeed? Maybe you know, maybe you're not sure. So if you can get yourself dressed in the morning, then you succeed at getting yourself dressed. You've succeeded. If you can feed yourself, then you succeed at feeding yourself. You've succeeded. And I know you can do both those things. Those are little kid things, aren't they? What about, can you ride a bike without training wheels? Maybe some of you can, maybe some of you can't. So those of you that can, you've already succeeded at doing that. And those of you that can't, the song encourages you to try again, doesn't it? So you don't want to quit, you want to keep on trying. What about tying your shoes if you have lace-up shoes? Can you do that? Probably some of you can and some of you can't. So that's something that we need to learn to do, so we need to keep trying. So this year, when we learn to play our pre-quarter, if you get discouraged and it doesn't sound quite right, I want you to remember the first song that we're going to learn, which we just sang, or I just sang, and now you're going to sing it with me. So what I want you to do is I want you to pat right here and see if you can sing the song with me. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Can we try that again? So see if you can pat exactly like I'm doing. I'm patting the heartbeat. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And you know what? I think I'm going to play it for you on here so that you can hear what it's going to sound like. That's going to be so cool, isn't it? I can't wait till next week when we get to actually try that. So let's look right over here at our sheet with just the heartbeats. Now, we just sang this song like this, didn't we? Let's sing the song one more time and pat the heartbeat. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So what I did was we patted the heartbeat. You patted it with me, at least you were supposed to. So now we're going to look here at our heartbeats and we're going to sing it again, but this time we're going to touch the hearts. So I want you to put your pointer finger up and you can touch on the screen or you can just pretend that you're touching the screen. Might be actually be better if you just pretend. That way you can see what I'm doing and keep up with me a little easier. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So that's our song with those heartbeats. But now let's talk about the story that we just heard of Somi and the monster. So we heard that the monster walked like this. Ta, 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 ta. Didn't he? He was the monster ta. This is what a ta looks like. It's also called a quarter note, but we're just going to call it ta. So instead of pointing to the heartbeats this time, let's see if we can point here. And we are not going to sing the song. We're just going to say ta, but we're going to keep the beat. Are you ready? Let's do this with me. Here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ta. Let's do that again. So got your pointer finger up, and I want you to point to the tas and say that with me. Here we go. Ta, 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 ta. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Do you remember that there was a little monster, and little monster's name was T-T? Let's see if we can find what T-T looks like. T-T looks like this. 2 notes with a bar across the top. So this is ta and this is T-T. T-T, you can do it that way. So do you see that T-T is 2 sounds, but 1 heartbeat? Do you remember that T-T had to take 2 steps to stay up with Ta's 1 step because TT was little. So that's why there are 2 sounds in 1 heartbeat, and Ta is 1 heartbeat. So I'm going to read this line for you, and I don't want you to do it this time. I just want you to. Are you ready to do that? And just watch. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Now it's your turn to try it with me. Are you ready? Here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. A lot of times students want to pat 2 times here. They want to do ta, ti, ti, ta. Oh, but that's not right because this is always the heartbeat. So in music class, whenever you're patting right here, you are patting the heartbeat. You are not doing the rhythm. So the tas and tts are the rhythm. I did forget to tell you something. So I told you on the last sheet that this ta is also called a quarter note. These tts are called 8th notes. So that's an 8th note and that's an 8th note. But we're just going to call them tt for now. So sometimes that's a little tricky just to do 1 pat, but to say tt with our mouth. So your mouth is doing 2 sounds, but your hand is doing 1 pat. So let's try this. Don't look at the sheet for now, and I want you to do this with me. I want you to be my echo. So listen first. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. Are you ready to do that? Here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. So you see, TT just got 1 pat, didn't it? So now we're going to come over here and we're going to speak this rhythm together, and I'm going to point, but I want you to pat right here. Remember, TT just gets 1 pat. Are you ready to try it? Here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Did you get it? Did you only do 1 pat here? Let's try it one more time. Are you ready? Here we go. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. All right. Are you ready for something a little bit harder? Okay, let's look at the next sheet. Now, I've kind of mixed them up on this sheet, haven't I? Look at that for a minute. See if you can figure out how that would go. Okay, I'm going to do it for you first, so I want you to, are you ready to do that? Just watch. T, 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 ta, 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 T, T, ta. Are you ready to try that? I bet you are. Can you pat for me this time? I'm going to point, but I just want you to pat. I want your eyes to be here and both hands patting right here. Are you ready? Here we go. T, 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 ta, 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 T, T, ta. Let's try that one more time. Remember that when you do TT, you're only patting 1 time. So I'm doing that here with 1 hand, but I want you to use both hands. Are you ready? Here we go. T, 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 ta, 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 T, T, ta. Now, I'm going to sing the song for you that we're going to be learning. And I sang it for you a little while ago about succeed. Do you remember how that goes? I'm going to sing it for you again, and I'm going to pat the heartbeat. If at first you don't succeed, try, try, try again. And now I'm going to tell you a little secret. Are you ready for a secret? The secret is that this rhythm is the rhythm for the song that you're going to learn to play, the one we just sang. It's called First Try. So this time, sing it with me, and I'm going to touch the rhythm, and we'll see if it makes sense, if it fits. Are you ready? Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try, try, try again. Let's try that again. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try, try, try again. You know, if I were to sing that song and just use TT and ta words, it would sound like this. T, 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 ta, 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 T, T, ta. See? Can you try that with me? Here we go. T, 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 ta, 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 T, T, ta. And now I'm going to tell you about something else you're going to need to play this song. You're going to need to know about mi, re, do. And that's called solfa or solfege. It goes by both names. I'm probably going to call it solfa because it's shorter and just quicker to say. So let's talk about what that looks like and how to do it, because you're going to learn how to do it. So it's another language in music. So when I do me, which sounds like this, me, see what my hands look like? Can you put your hands up here like this? So are my hands like this? Are they like this? Are they like this? Are they like this? No, of course not. They're right here. Can you do that? So look, if my fingers would touch, it would make like a shelf, wouldn't it? A straight line. But my fingers are not touching. They're pulled apart just a little bit. But you know what? If you're sitting on the floor or on your couch or something and you're kind of slumped over, you know, maybe your arms are right here, you're just really relaxed. In order to do this correctly, you're going to need to sit up tall and straight. So I need you to sit up tall and straight for me, because if you're bent over like this, you squish your breathing muscle, and then it's really hard to sing good and to match pitch. And it's really hard to make your hands do exactly what they're supposed to do. I know you can do this, but it's not as good. So, and I want you to be the best you can be. I want you to be successful. So sit up tall and straight. And put your hands up here like this. You see, my elbows are not on my legs, are they? They're not touching my legs, so I don't want your elbows to touch your legs. So that note is me. Can you sing that? Me. And then we're going to need to know two more. We're going to need to know re. See what re looks like? My fingers are slanted, aren't they? And if they were to touch, it would make a housetop, wouldn't it? But they're not touching. So you can go ahead and make a housetop and then pull your fingers apart a little bit. What did we call that? Re. So what was this one? Mi, re. And this is the easiest one. Do. Okay, do you see how it kind of comes down a little bit? Did you hear that? Did it go down when we sang it? Mi, re, do. It does, doesn't it? So our hands are also showing what the pitch is doing. The pitch is going up or down. Let's do that together. Put your me hands up. Mi, re, do. Let's do it again. Mi, re, do. All right. We're going to need to know that next lesson when we talk about mi, re, and do and learn where those notes are on this instrument, because we're going to learn them as mi, re, do to start with. Now, you've worked really, really hard today, and I'm so proud of you and how much you've learned. I think it's time to learn a game. Do you like to play games? I like to play games. This is a fun one. It's called Bounce High, Bounce Low. It uses a ball. You can play this with your friends or your family, or you could even do it by yourself. All you need is a ball. This one is kind of squishy, but if you have a harder ball, that would work too. We just use this in music class because if it hits somebody in the face, it doesn't hurt because it's just really squishy. It's almost like a really sturdy balloon. In this one, the ball is moving and showing the direction of the song, the way it's going up and down. So I just want you to watch. Remember that the first time you hear a song, you need to go. Are you ready to do that? Here I go, bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. Now, Shiloh is a real place, and that's what the song says. You're bouncing the ball to Shiloh. You could put another word there if you want. That's just what the song has. So I'm moving the ball up above my head, and then back here, and then down to my knees. And you would stand up to play this. In a little bit, I'm going to let you watch a short video of one of my classes playing this game. But for now, let's learn it together, and then you'll be able to watch the video and play it on your own. So even if you don't have a ball, just pretend you have a ball. So let me show you with the ball one more time, and then I'll show you how you can do it if you don't have a ball. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. Okay, now I'm going to put the ball down. And so just put your hands here like you were holding a ball, and we're just going to move it like we were holding the ball. Can you sing it with me? Here we go, bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. Let's do it one more time. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. Now I'm going to let you watch one of my classes play this game. Okay, so hands right here and pretend you're holding the ball, because you will be holding the ball in just a minute, okay? So move your hands with me. If you know the song, sing it with me. Here we go. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. So you're going to pretend you're holding the ball, okay? Okay, Zachary, you catch the ball, okay? Okay, so at the end of your turn to hold the ball, I want you to tell me what you do when you want to have fun. Do you play outside? Do you play with your friends? Do you ride your bike? What do you do, okay? Because I want to know something about you, okay? So Zachary's going to hold the ball. Let's all pretend we're holding it, so we'll know what to do when it's our turn. Put your hands right here. Sing with me. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. Okay, Zachary, show the class how you bounce the ball back, remember? Good job. See how I used both hands? And he bounced it on the floor, and then it went straight to me. Elijah, it's your turn. Catch the ball. Okay, everybody put your hands right here. Here we go. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. What do you like to do? Did I ask you what you wanted to do for fun? I forgot, Zachary. What do you do for fun?
Pretty much play with my friends.
Play with your friends. Okay. What do you like to do, Elijah?
Play soccer.
Okay. Would you aim for the floor? Good job. Okay, Levi, it's your turn. You ready to catch the ball? Okay. That's okay. Try again. We're try again. There you go. Okay, everybody put your pretend ball right here. Sing with me. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. What do you like to do, Levi, for fun?
Play dodgeball on the trampoline with my brother Noah.
All right. Can you use both hands and bounce it back to me? Good job. Okay. It is, I almost called you Lucy. It is Sophie's turn. Here you go. Okay. Sing with me. Here we go. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. You have to sing, Sophie, okay? What do you like to do for fun?
I like to FaceTime my friend.
All right. Would you use both hands and bounce it back to me? All right. Okay, it's Noah's turn. Everybody put your hands right here. Sing with me. Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to Shiloh. What would you like to do, Noah, for fun?
Ride my bike.
Okay, good job. Bounce it back to me. Okay, it's your turn, Griffin. Catch the ball. Okay, here we go. Everybody put your pretend ball right here. Move the ball like my hands, okay? Bounce high, bounce low, bounce the ball to shine low. What do you like to do for fun, Griffin?
Play with my friends.
Okay, bounce the ball back to me. Good job. Okay, everybody can sit down. I hope you've enjoyed today's class. I've had a lot of fun teaching you. You've learned a lot, and I hope you had fun too. So do your homework, and I'll see you next time. Bye.